Well, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Well, it's a sort of a sober Monday in the sense of looking at the news from yesterday. A seven-story building collapsed in Lagos. Reported, two dead, amongst suspected 6 or 7 people that were in there. So we'll continue on that story this morning. You've already, Dr. Femi Oke-Osanyiintolu has already been on our station talking about it. We'll continue that theme and also, take calls from you viewers out there. But in the meantime, here's a package on the matter.
It's another one. Another building collapse on Oniru Street in Lekki, an eyebrow area of Lagos State. This is one too many. And the question is, why? And why again? Emergency response was said to have been swift when the 7-story building under construction came down at about 3 a.m. on Sunday.
When it happened, we had to mobilize resources, and part of the resources are the excavators and other lights, heavy-duty equipment. Unlike before, when crowd used to disturb, or maybe because of the eyebrow area, we don't have the issue of crowd control.
Despite this downpour, emergency operators kept combing the rubble for more victims after recovering 2 bodies on the 3rd floor.
Is an hostile developer and it's recalcitrant. He has been dropping names anytime our officers visit the site. He is fond of dropping names, and he uses security, his personal security, to stop our officers from doing their lawful duties. And every time, I think from what we have done here, we have sealed the site about 3 times. And he kept breaking the seal and working. The police will release the name of the developer to him.
Anyway, no problem, sir, because
the rescue operation is at ground zero. Come and have a look at it.
2 dead bodies, 2 non.
What we have is just pipes. That means that steadily, within a short period, because of our aggressiveness, because of the sophisticated equipment we use, we are comfortable to ascertain that we are now at ground zero.
Some of the questions people are asking include, what do all of these collapsed buildings have in common? What lessons have been learned in the previous collapses? Who is taking responsibility for this new case? Some have blamed age of collapsed buildings in the state, but what happens if it is relatively new, as in this case? Adedoja Salama Deniyi, TVC News, Lagos.
Okay, thanks to Adedoja Salama Deniyi for that report that went out earlier. And now again to talk with one of the men of the moment in terms of professional response to disaster, Dr. Femi Oke-Osanyiintolu, friend of the House, Permanent Secretary, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency. A fine morning to you, Dr. Osanyiintolu. Okay, Dr. Osanyintolu, I believe that you are there, so I was saying good morning to you to the extent that you can consider it good given the circumstances.
Good morning.
Okay, thank you very much. I was just saying, I was just telling people, I think you've already explained some of the matters on our station this morning, PERMSEC, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, and you've said that you've actually, the Lagos State response plan has already been deployed as we speak, and so that is in action now. How soon, how early were you able to deploy the plan?
Well, we were informed around 3:15, and by 10 minutes after we were informed, we have already taken charge. So the response time was 10 minutes, and by 3:25, all the machinery, all our Charlie Goliaths and excavators, fine equipment has been moved to the scene.
Okay, indeed, that's quite commendable and quite lucky in the sense that the scene was not too far away from your assets. So it's like we thank God for that. And again, just to go over the facts that are becoming commonplace now, what you are confirming 2 dead of a possible 6 trapped in the rubble?
Yeah, that's what we were informed. And you will discover that there was a lot of early warning concerning all this. On Thursday, the Oniru of Oniru raised an alarm. And again, the building permit agency, led by their general manager, moved to the scene again, despite several attempts to seal the place up. So you will discover that there was an early warning alarm on this collapsed building, and there's a lot of enforcement on the part of government doing the needful. However, we were informed that a lot of people heard the warning. But however, we were informed that there are 6 people that were under the debris. We used our sophisticated equipment, the DELSA equipment, and the drone. We were able to look around the disaster scene, and we could not detect any live or living person under the rubble. Despite that fact, we still rely on the information gathered to us. And we divided the emergency scene to 3 zones. The outer zones is the zones or quadrant, is the quadrant that we were informed that people are. The middle zone is the zone that the probability of people being there is about 1. And the inner zone, the probability of people being there is 0. So we use different techniques, different methods to commence search and rescue. And believe me, by 5-6 p.m. at the outer zone that we thought people are, we got to ground zero. And at the 3rd level of that outer zone, we recovered 2 bodies. As at today, as I speak, I have been informed by my team, the Papa Eagle. The Papa Eagle has just informed me that we have recovered another body. So altogether now, at that scene, we've recovered 3 bodies.
Wow. And that's a bit depressing, but it is what it is.
And the operation is well coordinated.
Okay.
And the roles and responsibilities of all the key stakeholders is well defined.
Okay. All right then. It's inevitable that we mention this point. As our Doja Adeni Salam was saying, it's like one too many, the frequency of these incidents. And then you also saying that there was adequate, warning, alerts of an impending catastrophe if care was not taken. So one can't but ask, the response is marvelous, but one can't but ask, why doesn't the government have a zero tolerance for any infringement of these building codes and building laws and, until these things happen? I mean, I've heard reports already where officials from your ministry, from government, from the civil service, are saying that the developers were prevailed upon to cease work, but they continued. And how that could be done, how can they continue when the final authority has said cease work? It's a worrisome problem. What do you think, Femi? What can we do about this?
You see, firstly, the professional that could answer that question really should be the Fiscal Planning and Building Controlling Agency. But as a disaster manager, I will look at it holistically, and I will look at the constant factor there. The constant factor is the attitude of the people and the orientation of the people. Now, let's look at this case study of this, the one that happened at Oniru.
Yes.
The KBAC, the Oniru of Oniru, raised alarm on Thursday. Now, if the KBAC of Oniru has raised alarm on Thursday, and the good people and the law enforcement, the building controlling agency, moved there swiftly, which means there should not be anybody in that building. It is clear that the people led by the king has taken clear ownership of what is going on in their environment. The law enforcement, the government apparatus abuse their apparatus to seal the place up. So you can see that why do we have people under the rubble? Why do you have people at the scene, at the building? Is the orientation and the attitude of people. So you can see the recklessness in what really happened. So as a disaster manager, I will emphasize, really, if we look at all the case studies of all building collapse, the government always do their needful. The government always raise alarm. The government, even include the fourth estate, always try to sensitize people that they should use the right material, that they should take appropriate approval. But the constant factor is that people always say they want to use man, and they want to be reckless. They want to flaunt others, flaunting others, flaunting a lay down building code always led to disaster. So that is the constant factor in here.
Well, yeah, as you say, it is the Oniru himself was among those that raised an alarm. The building itself, the structure that has come down now is on Oba Idowu Oniru Street, and maybe that sort of explains why he was as concerned as he was. Although I imagine he will be concerned about any potential disaster in his domain, but in this case, he spoke up, and as you say, he and his chiefs and the local council, the local government there took ownership of the situation the way it was.